Hello all. The update for last video will be on the end of this video. So let's get right over to the news. What has been happening with peak oil? I've done a lot of research and I found a blogger in France, and he has researched the peak oil question. Are we in peak oil? Well, this is what we found out. That crude oil production is down by 25.8%. It's right here. Since 2004, from 10.760 million barrels per day to 7.981 million barrels per day. But there's a hitch to this. This information is provided by this blogger, and I'm not going to try and pronounce the name because I'm not good at French. He's talking about the big five, and that's BP, Exxon, Chevron, Shell, and Total. They're all going down in production. But the hitch is that there are other countries that are going up. Let me show you. Okay, worldwide production for the five major oil companies that we just talked about. By 2004, it dropped 13.39%. But then from 2004 to present, the production came back up to around 2011. At that point, it leveled off and has been plateaued ever since. That's worldwide production. Now, here's the thing. Nobody knows whether this is going up or down. If it goes up any higher, it will mean that we did not reach peak oil in 2005, that peak oil is still in the future. Remember, we won't know what happens until way after it happens, or a ways after it happens. There's also a little bit more news on this. Okay, the worldwide production of oil has increased, but mostly because of the stolen oil from Iraq and the Saudi Arabia oil, which is the reason they're increasing is because they're pumping seawater down into the oil chambers and putting it under pressure, and that seawater is pushing the oil up into the extraction wells. So Iraq seems to be the only country that is producing actual crude oil the old-fashioned way. All the rest are using different forms of extractions, from fracking to water pressure to chemicals. There's all kinds of different ways that you can get the last little bit of oil out of the ground when you have a big oil thing and the oil seeps like all over the ground, and they're sinking wells down in here and sucking out this little bit of oil that are in pockets. But the major oil is all gone, except for the stolen oil of Iraq and a few places next to Russia that are still pumping conventional oil. But the rest of it is heavy sand. Oh, we have a question. Okay, this question comes from Dump Your Television. Love the handle. Couldn't agree more. Get rid of it. It's the worst thing it's the worst item you have in your home. Get rid of it. It has no useful value whatsoever. He asks, he thought that fracking was only for gas, natural gas, that sort of thing. So I wanted to just kind of clear that up. Fracking can be for, boy, sure tell my pen is having, you're going to join that pen shortly. Okay, so here's a fracking well. Okay, it goes down about 2 miles in the US. It's 2 miles and about 2 miles this way. And they come in and they set a charge after they drill the well, and it explodes and does this kind of thing in the earth. And they put a dam right here, and they do the same thing, and they explode this part. Okay, and they do the same thing all the way around. This is done the same way whether it's gas or oil. Let's say that if it's gas, the gas seeps out of the ground and is pumped out. Under its own pressure it'll come out, and they just put it in tanks and take it away. Oil is a different situation because the oil is mostly just dirt and sand. and it will eventually, after they explode it and it's hot and burning up in there, the oil will seep down into these little cavities, and then they can forcefully pump some of it out. But after about 1 year, they lose about 90% of all the oil that they'll ever get out of the thing, and they'll spend another maybe half a year to 2 years pumping out what they can, and then the well is dead. So then they do something really even more crazy. They fill these old wells with toxic waste, and the problem is that the aquifer that we get our drinking water from is somewhere up in here, and as you know, the ground isn't sealed, and eventually all this toxics will make its way up into the aquifer, and that way you completely pollute the earth from the top of the sky all the way down to the core almost. So the big question, are we at peak oil? Well, OPEC right now supplies 40% of the worldwide production of oil. We haven't seen what the U.S. is pumping in the way of fracking oil, and I don't know if the U.S. is going to include fracking and the Canadian tar sands that comes down, if they include that as their oil. I'm not sure. If anybody has any information, just add it right to the comment section on that. Thanks for your comment. So, let's go up and find out what's happening with barges in San Francisco Bay, which supply the oil that makes the gasoline and other products for southern, central, and northern California and parts of Oregon. Okay, the other 2 days ago there were 8 barges in San Francisco Bay. Yesterday there were 5 barges in San Francisco Bay, and today there are 3. And let's go find out what Brent Crude is doing. Okay, started out 100, went up, down, up, shot up to 101, and back down to 100.5. Then we went almost straight up to 101.5, went down, and at present, with a dead pen, 101.5 plus. And what is gasoline doing here in San Francisco? Inexpensive gas station. Yesterday it was $3.78. Expensive gas station. Okay, let's get an update on what's happening with the Arkansas Canadian tar sands oil spill. According to ExxonMobil, they're claiming that the oil never made it into the lake. Well, according to Greenpeace, it did make it into the lake, and it also made it into the swamp. Let's take a look. Yep, it's pretty clear. The oil is in the lake and in the swamp. One unfortunate thing about tar sands oil is that it's made up mostly of heavy material such as sand. So of course when it hits water it's going to sink instead of float. And that's probably what happened. Most of the oil just sank to the bottom of the lake, and there's just some residue at the top, which they probably skimmed off by now. Alright, let's go for an update on the flag issue on last week's video. As many of you have done, I also looked at many pictures, and I actually yesterday saw a video of that actual flag in the background waving. So apparently the flag is there. It just isn't with all the other international flags, which is kind of unusual. I guess the U.S. feels that their flag is too important to be stuck with everyone else's flag. I wanted to talk about one of the ways, we can stop using so much oil, and that is by riding a bicycle to work and back, or taking public transportation. So, thanks a lot for the new subscribers. And YouTube's been doing a really strange thing. When I upload the video, it doesn't seem to play in the total number of minutes that it says. Last time, this last video, it said it was 10 minutes, and when I clicked on it, I could only get it to play 3 minutes. So if you didn't get the whole video, go go there now and watch it, because YouTube's screwing things up. I've noticed that with other people's video, that they're getting cut off before the end time. Alright all, till next time. This is a really good place to spend your money. Farmers market. We're just setting up here. Mostly organic. Individual farmers selling it. It's not coming from China.